Unique. Crypto face.
Join the market site.
With cash is Cuvée.
Yeah. Join the market site.
I bet you didn't know that I can rap.
Join the market site.
Even faster than I can trade.
Join the market site.
There you go. I love the adrenaline trades. I'm winning to my indicators say when it's starting to finish. I'm swing trade more on point than a pendulum live stream every day. 100K minimum. Come along for the ride. I'll be giving you the guide. While my brother on the side. Green camels on the rise. Yeah, the time has arrived. $30 million live. Better yet, make it 5. I hit the green dot and take off like a slingshot. In the background, you can hear them a beat side. Cash came through with a brand new heat rock. Every single time more shine than a beat type. Bitcoin popped on head for the dream top. You can take knots and you living in a dream shop. You predict this. You can take the X screenshot. Press going up. There's been from a T-shop. Look for a fear go. Now with a fear low. Check my channel with this for a hero. High school bang with a massive zero. At a million, I'll take it up on a beer show. Got locked with someone to take my key and try to trade like me with a fake ID, but they can't quite be because I'm crypto face. No KYC.
If you want to get paid, then you gotta win trade, so.
Join the market site.
If you want to get gains, then you gotta get trained, so.
Join the market site.
If you don't want to lose cash, then you better move fast.
Join the market site.
If you want to degen on more than a weekend,
Join the market site.
Cuvée enjoying Momo, diving in the FOMO, living in the future like a 30-44 flow. If you didn't catch it running back and playing slow-mo, ride the blue wave or go broke like a hobo. Be a big dog, not a small-time guy like a bonsai. Why? I'ma call my guy, hit crypto face, get him on my side when I seen Bitcoin hit an all-time high. When the bullets in the prime and it really is sublime, every ticker gonna climb and you finna get a dime. When I'm winning all the time, then the women wanna dime. I got bitches on my line, but there's digits on my mind. I'm hung up with only one indicator, gotta dodge the imitators, cause it's really nothing greater. I'm inadvertently gonna intimidate a hater. If you grow on me the data, I might have to hit a later. See the blame is in the game, cause I claim that I like it. Was stuck too deep in the game to go wipe it. Was scalping, I got that aim like a sniper. This ain't that fake, but I'll train your advisor. 100x leverage got the speed of a viper. Glued to the truck, got a pee in a diaper. Only look away when I step into the booth, and it's time to put a real MC in a cipher. If you want to get paid, then you gotta win trade, so.
Join the market site.
if you want to get gains, then you gotta get trained, so.
Join the market site.
If you don't want to lose cash, then you better move fast.
Join the market site.
If you want to degen on more than a weekend,
Join the market site.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen, episode number 624, coming to you live from somewhere, nowhere, New York. It has been an amazing day, and we got some awesome news. We talked about this yesterday at Crypto Monday here in New York. We got to meet some interesting people. There were some amazing people, and then there were some interesting people. But one of the people that we got to talk to is amazing. And so we made this plan last night, not knowing how today was going to turn out. But we're here to talk with Jean-Luc about FTX claim debts. And obviously some big stuff happened today. And so one and only, we want to thank Jean-Luc for joining us today. Jean-Luc, how...
I appreciate you inviting me here. Yeah, it's a pleasure for sure.
So it is an interesting day, nonetheless. What exactly happened today? And then we're going to be circling back on this. So what happened today?
For sure. Well, FTX had filed a plan which is now out there and the most updated plan. And so a lot of news has come out. Haven't had the time to really go through the documents and things yet, as it's just come out. But definitely we'll be looking at things tomorrow. And I think there's information about distributions. There's information about the assets and the liabilities. What can creditors get paid out, and things of that nature. So yeah, it's been definitely a eventful day.
So that's one of those things to where, what we're going to go into is exactly why that matters to you. So who are you?
Yeah, good question. So, I'm Jean-Luc, as you can see from the screen. I'm an analyst at Cherokee Acquisition, and we run a broker platform called Claims Market. And so we help creditors, used to be traditional Chapter 11s, like Toys R Us, Hertz, things like that. But now those creditors are often crypto people. And so, those who have claims in FTX and Celsius and these Chapter 11s, they can actually get immediate liquidity through selling their claim. Previously did not know. And so we help provide that liquidity to hedge funds and family offices or whatever, or through us purchasing it ourselves.
John, you froze for a second there. You help provide the liquidity that does what?
There we go. Yeah, so we help provide liquidity to those creditors, whether it's us purchasing it ourselves or trading that to large hedge funds and institutional funds, things of that nature.
Okay, and so you were originally like with bankruptcies and stuff like that, with normal Web 2 companies and stuff like that. You mentioned Toys R Us, so
Yeah.
So basically, people that had outstanding debt with Toys R Us, that Toys R Us owed them, they could then buy it at a discount, and then when eventually that claim came through, they'd get paid, 90 cents on the dollar is what they sold it for, and they'd get that full dollar plus some, right?
Yeah, so those purchasing the debt, buying those claims, they're taking on a risk because they don't know what the going to be. They don't know the percentage. They don't know when. And so, they're taking that risk to buy it in the hope that they see an appreciation in their investment. And obviously the people selling it, it's kind of like, a couple ways to look at it. Some people are like, well, hey, like I have bills to pay, right? I have rent to pay. I want to travel, whatever it is. I need to take the liquidity now. And so I don't want to wait 2, 3, 5 years to get paid out a percent I don't know about. Because you've got to remember as well, especially in crypto, they have a massive amount of knowledge in terms of like the legal side of how these proceedings work. And so it's a very unknown area. And so, yeah, some choose to just take that money on now, or some are like, hey, like, I don't think the payout's going to be big. So time value for money, I'd rather take that now, reinvest it in the markets and, hopefully see a higher return on my investment than waiting to get, something from the debtor.
Yeah. So it's been just over right about a year and a half since FTX since Sam signed bankruptcy proceedings. How quickly after that did you guys show up?
Yeah. So, I mean, it first started out with Celsius in the summer of 2022. And so when FTX filed November the 11th, 2022, I think it was like 10 a.m. Eastern, we were active right from the get-go because we already had some time with Celsius with dealing with crypto claims, even though there's a slightly different KYC process, obviously different cases completely. But, we had experience of being in the crypto space, educating creditors because, our thing is, well, we don't just want to, we want to actually educate people so that they can make an informed decision, and so we were pretty much immediately in the space. And now, about a year and a half on, as you mentioned, probably done around about almost 300 million in FTX claims in terms of volume. Obviously, FTX has about $10 billion in liabilities or so, but yeah.
And then you guys also provide a marketplace as well for these to be sold and traded on. And you've done what, about $3.6 billion worth of trade so far of this debt back and forth between buyers and sellers?
Yeah, so we run a brokerage platform, I think, because the thing is you can sell to one buyer and that's okay, but we want to help sellers get the best price possible. You know what I mean? Like they've been through a lot of like emotional roller ups and downs. And so we have buyers compete with each other. And so when a claim's listed, imagine you have over 40 onboarded buyers and investors who are literally bidding and competing, fighting for your claim. And so, let's say you listed at 90%, buyer comes in at 85. Well, you can reject that. And then another buyer might come in at 86. And so you can choose to accept that or counterprice that. So that's kind of why our platform's efficient. And, we have like a transparent document called the simple assignment of claim, and all the buyers have already signed to it. So the good thing is once the trade's confirmed, subject to one or two things, payments made in 2 business days. So on our website, you'll see it's listed, and then literally, 2 to 3 days later, it's sold. And so that's a nice, fast process for people.
Now, so because shout out to Meta Architect for joining us. So you had a lot of experience with Celsius, and so you guys were ready, because one of the things that, doing a little bit of digging is that you almost got like a vulture FUD because you had already gone through this with Celsius that you saw the writing on the wall with FTX, and then by the time it happened, you guys were ready. And so were you already lining up buyers and the paperwork and stuff like that? So you were just prepared.
Yeah, so we I think FTX was always on the radar from what we was hearing. I mean you hear things about Binance, and 1 minute it's like, oh, like, are they going to file bankruptcy? Next minute it's like, are they even legally allowed to operate in the US? Like, so many different things. But the paperwork in terms of what the buyers sign and the sellers sign actually is unanimous and pretty much remains the same throughout different cases. Maybe there's like one or two different nuances, but in terms of the buyers there being there and available, we've worked with them for many, many years, from traditional Chapter 11s to crypto and stuff. And now many buyers are actually implementing the facilities to pay in crypto. Why? Because crypto creditors want to get paid in sometimes USDC, things like that. So they've had to adjust as well. And that's interesting to see in the centralized finance space, because that's not decentralized. These are traditional hedge funds and things. So it's cool.
So a question here. November 22nd, bankruptcy filed. How soon did you guys get your first claim, person putting up their first claim?
That's a good question. And if I were to go back in you can see on our website, claims-market.com, our transaction history is actually publicly shown here. And so I'm actually looking through it now, and I'm going to FTX. I'm seeing the first claim that we traded on our platform was actually okay. Yeah. So in terms of on our platform, not over the counter, it was first listed December the 27th, 2022.
Okay. So pretty quickly that you guys got that in there. Now, so the question then is, were you paying out in crypto right away? So did someone get like, their stuff in paid right away, or is that something that adapted and changed over time?
Yeah, that definitely changed over time, because at first that wasn't publicly, that wasn't not all buyers had the ability or capabilities to do that, and even now not all buyers do. But I remember, if you go on the right by lead debtor, you can actually make sure that all of the FTX are in one area, and so yeah, I think that the at the start of a case, there's a lot of things up in the air, right? In terms of what can the distributions look like, what are the assets and liabilities of the company, how many creditors are there, things like that. And so it can be very, very risky from both ends, from sellers or from buyers, to make a decision. But one of the big things was the KYC. The KYC was a big sort of issue and situation, because we want to make sure that sellers are KYC'd, but also that they do the right processes so that when a claim is purchased, there isn't any issues down the line. So you can see on our site here sort of some of the documentation and transaction history, things like that. And all the way at the top on the left hand side, you can see the prices as well, and they were increasing. Like they were definitely,
the claim and the bid ask has been increasing as it's been getting longer and longer. People are thinking it's a shorter and shorter time period for the payout, so less risk.
And the fundamentals, there's further progress in the case, so more information comes out. That information can increase price or decrease price. And so all the way back in 2022, pricing was like 15 to 20%. And then all of a sudden now, for claims, these are particularly for larger claims, they're up in the 90s, the high 90s. So
we have people, the ask in the high 90s and the bid in the the high 80s and stuff like that. So there's still that spread, because someone wants to buy it and then they can sell it right away to another buyer, correct?
Yeah, it's fairly fast in terms of listed to sold. If you look at the transaction history there, it's
Mhm.
taken what 2-3 days sometimes. Sometimes it's the same day. So I think that's why a lot of people trust us for the trading volume we've done. I mean, we're just hitting almost 500 million now. And so yeah, it's been an interesting time. FTX has a lot of, they're very stringent on KYC, very diligent, and so many creditors, we're not too sure on the process, and so we've done a few interviews and things out there to kind of like help people get educated so that they know what a proof of claim, they know what to file, they know why to file, and they know how to go through the KYC correctly. Otherwise, they may not see the distributions.
Yeah. And so, like, because there's that risk too, where a buyer, they might miss something in their documentation and they've already paid for something.
Yeah.
But the claim still goes to the original claimant. Now, it has stuff like that happened. And what's the process with that?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And so, that's why the procedure is so diligent to prevent things like that. And so there's all sorts of different ways that can go. The way to sort of protect both parties is making sure just that the information is correct and there's transparency. So we have a screen share with these sellers, with them, logging into the account just so we can see it's legitimate and everything. And so we do our checks in terms of the withdrawals that they've had, because there's a term called preference. I don't know. Have you heard of the term preference before?
So it means many different things depending on what market you're talking.
Sure, yeah. So in bankruptcies, preference is the concept that just in a generalistic term, net withdrawals within 90 days before petition date, so 90 days before November the 11th, they are deemed as property of the estate, property of the debtor. And so just think about that now. Like, no, if you own money in FTX, at the time, you didn't know you withdrawing half of your account on October the 10th. You didn't know a year later that money now is going to be deemed as not yours, even though you took
the clawback, was a big, still contentious thing. And we see, we've seen people like Simon Dixon sort of lead the charge in trying to fight that, but at the same time, and this is what I sort of find funny. People say he's just trying to save his bag, but what's really funny, by him saving his bag, he saves a whole bunch of other people's bags too. Exactly. So it's, I used to use the argument, I didn't care about my bag, I cared about one person's bag, and I would name that person. And so by me caring about that person's bag, I ipso facto care about everyone's bags. Because if I say I care about everyone's bags, it's very disingenuous sounding. Like, oh, I care about that everyone makes it. Well, okay, who's everyone? I care that George makes it. I want George to get it. And because George is holding the same thing that everyone else is holding, if George makes it, then everyone makes it.
100%. Yeah, definitely. I agree. I mean, people like Simon Dixon and other big people in the space who have large claims or whatever it is. I mean, yeah, they're all fighting the UCC, the Unofficial Creditors Committee, things like that. Yeah. They're all fighting really for the same thing, for higher payouts and a smooth process, and for their voice to be heard with certain ways that the case is going. And so, yeah, preference was a huge deal. And the good thing is, because it seems so far that FTX has, enough more assets than previously understood, it looks like preference may not even be a thing, may not be asserted, which is obviously good for everybody. So it looks like they have enough funds for that not to be the case. Yeah.
And it's sort of hilarious, the creditors, they've made a shit ton of money, excuse my language, by managing this case, not only on their billables, but with the different asset categories of coins that they had, like their Solana, they were staking it. So they were getting the emissions from that the entire time that they had it staked, and how much it was one of those things to where, and they get to keep that, and then part of the intro, but then I think correct me if I'm wrong, they have to store some of that because they might have interest payments because people aren't going to get 100% all at once.
Yeah.
It's going to come over a long period of time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, even though it might be a little bit more of a front-loaded case, meaning the majority or some maybe first and then over time, bit by bit. It's not all in one chunk, and some people aren't aware of that. And so if you're looking at the crypto market, sort of the next year, well, we're in a bull run. There's no two ways about it. So, and a bull run really only happens every 3 to 4 years. So, what you're gonna do? You're gonna just maybe hold the claim and just hope get paid out 1-2 years in full or whatever it is, and then the market's in a completely different space then. So it just depends, but definitely distributions will be split up over time.
Yeah, and luckily the market has rebounded better than where it was slightly at the time of FTX's collapse and stuff like that. And I forget the exact snapshot date of value of tokens. But this one of the other things that really pissed everyone off was that they weren't getting their crypto back.
Yeah.
And so right now, a lot of that question, the questions that have been asked a lot to me is like, where is that crypto, all of that crypto, and who's getting that? And so Solana, I know the creditors are going to be open market selling the SOL, so that's going to hurt market prices unless we see a lot of OTC stuff happen. But like all the Bitcoin that they had on their books.
Good question. Yeah.
Where's that going? Do you know?
Yeah. I don't. I wish I could say, but I actually don't. Obviously the claims are being dollarized, so people are getting the dollars. But in terms of what happens with the crypto, I couldn't exactly tell you, but they need the funds in order to pay creditors. So I would assume that would be then sold, and so that liquidity would be given in dollars to creditors.
Yeah,
and it varies case to case as well, because Celsius, I believe they're getting some crypto. I think it might be Bitcoin and
Ethereum.
ETH. Yeah, I think that's the case. So yeah, it just depends, but yeah.
And this is the thing that I sort of counterpoint with people, like on insurance claims, debt claims, and stuff like that. You lose your car gets in a car wreck. The insurance company's not going to just drive the same exact car up to your driveway. They're going to cut you a check for the value of it at the moment. Yes, you can pay extra into your policy to get a car of the same or newer class, and you're just paying more in those insurance premiums.
Sure.
But they're still giving you a check for you to then go get your car. Same thing with like a house or, debt on a building or a lien or any other tax situation. So it's a little different because we're still so dominated in the nomination of dollars.
Yeah. Exactly.
People were thinking they were in crypto.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, the way FTX worked, they really weren't.
Yeah.
All in paper, only in paper.
Only in paper. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And I spent 5 weeks in the courtroom during the FTX trial getting to see all the flows of it. So,
well, I want to kind of hear, your experience on that, because, even though I'm in that sort of crypto bankruptcy world, you were in it more than me physically. You were actually there. So how was that like? And maybe spill some tea.
Let's see here. It was an interesting aspect. I got to meet a lot of amazing reporters, and the one interesting thing that I got to talk a few times, somewhat intimately with Sam's parents.
Wow.
Because I'm a tall gentleman.
Just like me. I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
I'm just slightly taller than you. Just
1 inch.
Yeah, 1 inch. Yeah. I like to stretch my legs. So every chance I got, I would run to the stairwell you know, and go do like step ups on the stairs, you know.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many times I fell asleep in court.
No way.
While taking notes. Like my notebook from that time period, like I'm transcribing what's being said, and then there's just like a pen mark, and then the pen go, you know.
What?
I would just be because it was like they would just get so, oh my gosh, it was bad sometimes.
Well, you know, you stayed up to be in the room. So you need to sleep at some point.
Yeah, it was bad. You know, at times getting, you know, I was waking up usually around 1 o'clock in the morning to get to court between around 2 a.m. to stand outside with a whole bunch of other people to be let into the building at 8:30 and then let up to the courtroom at 9:30. And they only let the first 21 people in, and sometimes their count was off. Never more, mostly less. And so we sort of came up with the rule like the first 15 were safe. And it became it balanced out really quickly on like the first person there would keep a list and people would sign up, and then that way people could run off to a bathroom or something like that, or run off to Starbucks and stuff. But where New York Southern District is, everything's sort of closed early in the morning till like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
So I remember one morning I was the first one there, and I started the list, and I wrote it and I stuck it in an orange cone that was sitting there where we normally first person usually sits.
Yeah.
And then I ran off to go get food real quick, you know, because I sat there for an hour, you know, and so I ran off and I got back at like 3 a.m. And by the time I got back, there was like 25 people there.
Wow.
And everyone's like, Taco, you're late. You're late. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And they're like, prove it. How are you? And so there, another really cool content creator was there, Tiffany Fong.
Of course. Yeah. Friend. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's an amazing person. She decided she was like the first person. She thought she was the first person there. So she like took a picture of her leaning against the cone. And there's my piece of paper with my name written on it. And everyone's like, oh my God, it's, you know, so like, it was like a hilarious thing there. You know, everyone thinks that the government thinks I'm dead because no one could learn my name, you know, no matter how many people, no matter which way people tried. But it was made a lot of cool friends. But I was streaming live lunchtime and after court every day.
Wow. What
happened in the morning time, what happened in the afternoon time, what it all meant. And to me, it was, you know, the writers that were there were doing a lot of good writing. Don't get me wrong. There was a lot of false stuff coming out, not necessarily directly from the courtroom from people, but people who were acting like they were there.
Yeah.
You know, reading someone else's stuff and then like putting their own spin on it.
For sure. Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons why it was really important to me to be there.
For sure. Primary source, yeah.
Not everyone reads Blockworks. Not everyone reads CoinDesk. Not everyone reads the New York Times. Not everyone reads The Verge. You know, I think the closest person to what everyone sort of reads would be like Autism Capital.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and Autism Capital was there. I got to meet like Zeke, Zeke D and stuff, who it was sort of hilarious. Sam was getting asked, like, did he do any long-term interviews? And he was like, I don't recall. He's like, they were like, did you spend, you know, an hour with Zeke, you know, with a writer? And he's like, I don't recall. I don't think so. I wouldn't remember. My schedule was so busy, I wouldn't remember an hour meeting. And they were like, what about 2? What about half a day? No, and he's like, I don't recall. And they're like, would you remember 13 hours? You know, the Zeke's article, you know? And it was just a, you know,
wow,
really interesting piece on how much the state flubbed their case at times. And in my opinion, how much the the defense flubbed Sam's case as well because the state did such a horrible job. They left their room,
yeah,
and they just didn't take it, And Michael Cohen did a good job on closing and stuff like that.
for sure.
The way the charges were written, Sam was going to be found guilty no matter what, because it was if you even knew of this happening, or someone doing something, if you knew of anyone doing a bad acting in bad faith, then you would be guilty of this.
For sure.
And so there was a text near the end from Rashad Singh where, as Sam said, and as everyone sort of said, they were afraid that Rashad was, I'll be honest, because mental health is a real thing, that Rashad was looking, seeming and coming across as suicidal and stuff like that. And so he had about $500 million in debt, in loans, in paper loans from FTX that he had borrowed from FTX customers. And so he'd shot Sam a text and he was like, hey, I'd feel a lot better if I could get rid of this 500 million debt and be like 50 million plus. And Sam responded back, sure. How do you plan to do that? And Rashad, I can go do some back trades on the order book, so it looks like I made these trades and I'm plus.
No way.
And Sam was like, okay, I guess. And so Rashad then later on the stand said, oh, but I didn't go do that. And he was the one that kept coming up with these exercises, as he liked to call them. And I'm like, you really don't try to figure out how you're going to eat all the Smurfs unless you really want to eat the Smurfs.
Yeah,
so,
sure. That's interesting.
Yeah. The fact that he got off, the way Gary Wong got off, it was sort of interesting,
No, for sure. I mean, that's like firsthand in-court experience that only 15 to 20 of you even got out of the whole world of people who would have been dying to be there. That's really special for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. And I think definitely. Yeah. Definitely, like, I don't know, just sets a certain tone and mood for how I think people are going to think twice about centralized exchanges and how much they put on those things and who they're choosing to keep their money with, what exchange, because it's the back end information that can be the difference between having a crypto account and then now having a Chapter 11 claim that's not even yours anymore.
It's an interesting aspect. When you sort of think about it, there's a whole thing, not your keys, not your crypto. But what really sort of sucks is that there are good centralized exchanges, but U.S. citizens or those that have U.S. KYC documents can't access them.
Yes, very true. My European friends are blessed. They are on some great exchanges, no issues with regulations and things. And
huge. Take a second to do a huge shout out to Cube Exchange. I know the team behind them. They're based in the U.S. and they have an amazing exchange, but no U.S. customer can use them. They literally have an emergency withdraw contract.
Jeez.
That the owner of that the person that owns the account can execute on.
Wow.
And so I got to have a talk with Redacted J when they were building this, and he sort of like shot some ideas at me, like, what do you think of this? How do you think we could do this? How do you think we could teach people? I'm like, I know this sounds stupid, but if you incentivize it, like as they're in that sign up process, teach them how to do an emergency withdraw for $10, and have that, and they'll get $10 for doing an emergency withdraw. So even if everything hits the fan, they can go to the contract and they can emergency withdraw.
Yeah, that's a good idea for sure.
You know, and so I from what I understand, they implemented it, but because I have US KYC documents, I have not yet been able to test it.
Yeah, you can't use it. Wow.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit lucky because I have, you know, UK passport and things, so that is pretty handy when it comes to like exchanges and things like that. Yeah.
Hey, where there's a will, there's a way. Doesn't mean I'm always blocked from everything.
Yeah, exactly that. That. For sure.
So, Jean, what's been your crypto history? What's your Web3 journey?
That's a good question. Sorry, this light's kind of playing up a little bit. Yeah. So, 1 minute. Let me see if I can. Sort this out. There we go. Yeah. So actually, I haven't really spoke publicly too much on that. I mean, I started in 2021, early 2021, and you know, I started really just from the investing standpoint. I think it was like January time, and I never really got into like trading crypto too much, to be honest. It was more from like a learning education standpoint. And then 2022 summer, I believe, that's when I was diving into Web3, and I was a community manager on a Solana project. And you know, Solana was going through some times back then. The Solana was a network, well, it still is, that is, you know, cheap, that is fast, but it was very unreliable. And so it was a big risk to launch an NFT on Solana, but we felt that all things taken into
what project?
Called the way you asked that question, what project was that? Attack on Meta. So that was launched on Launch Labs.
Okay.
Launch Labs. So yeah, we did consider Magic Eden, but yeah. So Attack on Meta.
I remember Launch Labs. Yeah.
And I was community manager, but then I was also rapper. I was also strategist. I was also just different hats. So you know, I made a few songs about Attack on Meta in the Web3 space. You know, put them on Spotify and things like that. And we built, you know, it was great. We did build a community from when it first got taken with 150 members or whatever, all the way to 10,000 within 4 months, 5 months. You know, we were the third. At one point, we were the third largest on Launch Lab, maybe the second actually. And yeah, you know, we had some traction. It was a really cool sort of few months, but we had some struggling with our mint process. So let me tell you what Attack on Meta actually was. It was basically an amalgamation of Japanese anime mixed with
Attack on Titan.
Similar, exactly that. Yeah, Japanese anime with like kind of like US, I guess, like just like UK, like hip hop culture or whatever you want to call it.
Was it pixelated?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't like pixelated. It was more like how to describe it. If I have an NFT and on my computer or something, I'll show you. But it was great fun. Just building out a team from zero to where it was incredible. And you know, we had some struggles with the mint and things and technical things, but unfortunately, the project didn't last. But it was a cool experience to learn from like the inside out rather than from the outside in. And we hired people like you know, to advise us on certain things. And that was useful advice, and definitely learned a lot about business, learned a lot about building something. And yeah, so that was partly my kind of experience in Web3. And then, you know, crypto-wise now, just really an investor, have like a team of people from the UK here that we communicate with, help out, things like that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So what was the first thing you bought?
The first crypto I bought, I think it was Cardano. I think it was Cardano.
Cardano.
I
had a Cardano call today. So
oh really?
Yeah.
No way. Yeah, Cardano. But yeah, I mean, you know, I have some, I guess, couple personal friends. You know, I like VeChain. I like Kusama. I like
the degens playground, where things are supposed to go to die, but they don't.
but they don't. yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Been looking into what's that project called? There's like a real estate crypto project that is on the
Poppy?
rise. No, it's
House?
no, so it's a small cap.
Okay.
Can't remember the name now, but I'll tell you my kind of perspective on this wave of crypto.
Yeah.
Is I think there's like 3 industries that are going to do really well. I think it's AI, data. I think derivatives will do well as well, and also really those like AI, data, derivatives, that sort of space, tech. I think that's what this bull market will be more about compared to the last ones. And obviously the Solana ecosystem, this bull market, I think is going to do very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you though? Because you
what do
have
you think
way
about
more
IP?
experience
What do you think about IP?
about ICP,
No, IP.
IP. Haven't looked into
Do you
it
think
too
that will play a big role in projects this cycle?
intellectual property.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it definitely can. I think that in the NFT space, that's a big argument, big conversation. And so, yeah, I mean, what's your perspective and take on things this time around?
So I think data storage is going to be one of the bigger ones. I'm doing some stuff.
Sure.
I'm doing a lot of stuff within the Cosmos ecosystem.
Okay.
So Polkadot and Cosmos are like 2 secret weapons I have in my back pocket. Like you'll just wait, having got to meet Gavin and talk with him, and then having, listened to him for a really long time, since foundation days, I'm coming up on 13 years, soon.
Wow.
Maybe.
By the way, there's really not many people who have that many years of experience. Very few.
Yeah, look, it's one of those things to where none of us knew what the fuck we were doing.
Yeah.
And it was spin up this, command line this, and try to buy this, and half the time I was sending more money orders to third world countries to get coins on this chain and stuff like that, and like I still remember my Mount Gox KYC.
Wow, no way. That's old school.
Like I literally had to like write my name on a piece of paper and date it and take a picture like this.
Oh, so yeah.
And it was we've come a long way. AI obviously is a big thing, but right now there's a divergence in AI and GPUs in and of itself, and people trying to figure out how to intersect it with Web3.
Yeah.
The easiest answer right now are like AI agents that can do things for you on chain, whether you're there or not, buying, selling, arbitrage, creating something, working with Project Sunfire, which is basically code gen, looking to reduce engineering time. Paul says 10x, but in reality, if you get like a 10% reduction in engineering time, that budget can be used elsewhere. And what really happened a lot during the ICO phase and stuff like that, 2016, 2017, 2018 and stuff like that, was people spent 95% of their budgets on marketing and 5% designing a website and white paper and 5% on a party to launch at. And so doing a lot of that marketing and stuff like that left you in a weird spot, because projects raised a lot of funds where they could have accomplished what they were setting out to, but then they didn't, and so that really sucked to see a lot. And so now we're seeing a lot of people building something to then pitch, where it used to be ideas were sold, and we still see that happening. People think that they can sell an idea versus and they learn very quickly they can't. they also think that they can build something amazing with zero marketing.
Yeah.
And that people will just see this amazing code. And I'm like, I'm sorry, mom's milk is going to outperform you because you have boobs bouncing on a Twitch channel right now.
Yeah. Right. It's true.
You know, and people are going to look at that rather than go on chain and look at this awesome code you just wrote. And so there's a balance of finding it, you know, and people realizing that this takes time.
For sure.
You know, and so the people that have been building through this last winter, I really want to see succeed because they've stuck through it, you know, and they kept going. And yesterday, I think, was day 3 of positive inflows on Grayscale, and that discount being, you know, seems to be gone.
For sure.
So that's really going to change things. We have the ETFs that are going to set a different standard.
For sure.
We now have Hong Kong trading ETH ETFs, as well as BTC ETFs. And what's really hilarious is I came to this conclusion today and did some research and found out Gwei's been down this last couple weeks. You know, it's been in the 5 to 10 range, and it's not been in that hundreds. And so ETH right now is not ultrasound money. It is not deflationary.
Yeah.
Because it's not burning as much fees. It's doing more transactions within the blobs. So it looked like one blob will hold 10,000 transactions.
Yeah.
And so 30,000 transactions from layer 2s are being done per block. But it looks like one. And so because of that, Base was able to acknowledge that they had over the last 30 days more transactions on Base than on Ethereum or any other roll-up, you know, layer 2. And so because of those blobs. And so Ethereum is going to become it's going to stay a hulking beast
for sure,
of a machine. And just like layer 2s are building on the security of Bitcoin, layer 2s, layer 3s, and everywhere else are going to just use Ethereum as that you know, settlement layer. I think projects are starting to find a big border between their PFP project side and / utility community growth. And their business side, and they're starting to separate those, which is a really smart move by founders, you know, and they're starting to separate teams so there's not overlap, so that each side of the project is protected. I'm gonna say it, I hope the SEC gets slapped in the face. You know, it's a scary thing because the SEC, and I say this, you know, I regurgitate the same things because everyone hates the SEC right now in crypto Twitter.
For sure.
But the SEC does hold a very important role.
Very important, yeah.
And what I'm afraid of is that the JP Morgans, the BlackRocks, they're going to see SEC get bitch slapped by everyone.
Yeah.
And then they're like, before it was like, hey, we have to watch out. You know, we can only push the envelope so far. Now people are going to be like, oh, we can, they don't got teeth anymore. We can just push as far as we want. And then if they, you know, give us a notice, instead of just paying the fine, we can fight it because they're such idiots. They won't prove a case. Yeah. And so them losing their teeth is going to be a really sad thing. And it's you know, I'm really excited for consensus because you know, there's going to be a lot of politicians there. Hester Price, SEC commissioner, she's going to be there. She's amazing. John Deaton, who's running for Senate against Elizabeth Warren, he's going to be there. And I have been told, I haven't seen it confirmed anywhere,
okay,
So I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything, but I was not sworn to secrecy.
So that,
hold on, let me check. Let me. I heard RFK might be there too.
I thought you was gonna say him. I thought you was gonna say. And guess what? I was there when he was in Miami at the Bitcoin
Miami.
Yeah, Bitcoin Miami. That was amazing. I think, yeah. I mean, look, I think I gotta go to this thing. I think I gotta go to this, especially because it's in Texas and I'm in Dallas. So
you're 3 hours away.
It's true.
2.5 if there's no traffic.
I honestly should go. Yeah. I think I might.
You're gonna wait. I should be getting a discount code. I will send you the discount code.
Send it. Yeah.
I don't. I warn you, it might not be a discount code. It might add 20%.
I might add it.
You know, I love the entire CoinDesk team. Consensus is amazing. You know, some amazing people work at CoinDesk. They put out great reports and stuff. So I may or may not have a discount code. I'll wait to see. But I did, one of the things that was in one of their newsletters today that I put out, if you pay in USDC, you get a 25% discount.
You get a discount, yeah.
So you know, that's better than any taco discount, I think, maybe. But who knows? We'll find out. Maybe we get a taco discount and a USDC discount.
Yeah. Hey, that would be good. That would be good. I'm looking at the speakers here, and yeah, this is pretty huge.
It's a good lineup, you know. The demo stuff, and then huge stuff on AI and the decentralized compute. Exactly. Decentralized compute, I think, is going to have and so I'm part of Manifest Network.
Okay.
So Manifest is a Cosmos IBC chain, providing AWS level distributed compute power, you know, infrastructure. And there's a lot of great projects that are like that, like CPU Coin, but they're using, you know, they have 185,000 node operators, but they're running, you know, from their laptop or, you know, maybe a dedicated desktop and stuff like that. But for AWS quality, you need servers, you need racks, you need H100s, you know. Sure. I got to see an H100 2 weeks ago. Those things are beasts.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, no, I think that's going to be a big thing. Everyone's building a layer 2. You know, I was on Mario Nafal's space this morning talking liquid staking tokens, you know, like liquid Lido ETH and stuff. Sure. And you know, heck, I'm running another space in like less than 10 hours, you know. Wow. Because one of the big projects that Manifest is behind and the Lifted initiative is behind in 6079 and a whole bunch of other big players is Morpheus AI. And their token TGE happens tomorrow at 8 a.m. So 1200 UTC. People have been staking their ETH into that protocol since February 8th. So 90 days. Wow. They've had over $500 million worth of staked ETH in their protocol. And so what's been really cool is people aren't having to worry about losing money because they're just storing their staked ETH. Emissions from their staked ETH, from the Lido stake ETH, is what's being diverted to the liquidity generation event. Yeah. And so there's a lot of cool stuff in there because it shows that the community wants it.
Yeah, definitely.
Not one person, not a VC, you know. And I think that might become a meta. We've sort of stepped away from it for a security reason on the aspect of, you know, the SEC is really good at saying that only qualified investors can make investments.
I know.
The community's too dumb.
Yeah.
You know, you get to buy it on secondary when it's already 100x
already way up.
It paid for it. And so you're going to be the exit liquidity for the investor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But doing some really cool stuff on capital raise formation and stuff. So I think that there might be some cool things in there.
Great.
But you know, we see a lot of different people moving out of their operations out of the United States. Wasabi Wallet just moved out of the United States. Trezor has removed removing their presence from the United States.
I didn't know that. Wow, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Second largest cold storage place that people are, it's either Ledger or Trezor. So yeah.
I'm a Ledger man, but I got like 6 Ledgers sitting around me and 2 Trezors,
Oh wow, so you got both, yeah.
And then I got a couple other hardware wallets and stuff, because I test stuff out, break it, see if I can break it, I should be getting the Ledger Stacks soon.
Okay.
And then the 1-inch hardware wallet.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So some cool stuff there coming out. But yeah. So what about you? What are you trading shit coins at all?
Nah. Really, when it comes to that sort of stuff, I feel like number one, you got to have the time to have fun with it. You know what I mean? Like, you got to make the time to have fun, not have at the same time, but make the time to have fun with it. And like, currently, I'm not willing to make the time to have fun with it. However, of course, I know people who are, that's their thing. They love it. They love trading that. They love, going into, and the thing is, from tapping into the Web3 world in terms of creating an NFT project and being part of that from A to Z, I definitely learned a lot in terms of what does it take to really be profitable in the space. And from what I've seen and experienced, I'd say that really integrate, like really building connections on the inside, like really integrating, being in, because I'm sure you've been in the space for so many years. I bet there's private communities or places or group chats where you get information before 99% of people get it. You hear about this before 99% of people heard of it. And so that you don't just get rewarded, that takes time, energy, and effort. And there was a period where I was in that, getting the pre-mint, but when I'm not in there, it's like I don't have the advantages that they would have. And so the probabilities of me winning or seeing what I want is minimal. Does that make sense? That what I'm trying to explain it?
It does. You're using the cabal argument, and I think that's like. Can I tell you where my secret alphas are?
Go for it.
Founder chats, not cabal chats, because when you're in a cabal chat, you're hearing about it after the people that say it have already made their plays. By being in founder chats, I get to hear about the cool shit that's building. And I'll be honest, I don't have the capital or the time to go throw $100 in everything I learn about.
Yeah.
If I could, I would, I would go put $100 on token 1 through 5,000 on CoinMarketCap. And
one of them is going to blow.
But at the same time, it's one of those things where I get to sort of see what's being built and sort of file it away. And so then when I meet someone else that's building something or they have something built, if it resonates with something that I know, I can connect dots. And that's where I come, because people know I'm usually not in the room to learn the alpha to like make a trade. It's like, I want to learn what they're actually doing.
For sure. 100%. Yeah.
Like, yeah. And then I hear crazy ideas, from people that have success in building crazy things. And they think that they're like, what if we do this, do that? And then this is the weird solution they all have on how to make it. Let's add Web3.
Yeah, that's so true.
And I'm like, how do you want to add Web3? We'll make a meme token. Okay, that's not how you. Cool. All right, you your budget needs to be 55K.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So this was a question that I had for you last night, and I wanted, I'm sure some people are asking about this. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the chats. We're paying attention to them and stuff like that. If you have any questions for Jean-Luc, Cherokee Acquisitions, aka Claims Market, if you have any questions about FTX or Celsius, please hit up their website, claims-market.com. And people can still file their claims, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, people can still file their claims. Let me not file their claims, but people can still sell their claim. And so we're honestly the number one broker to do that for people. And so yeah, people are getting funding 2-3 days after trades are confirmed from being listed. The percentages vary. For some $1 million plus claim, 95% or higher sometimes, and so for smaller claims, it's a little bit less. But it just depends on one or two factors. The biggest one being size. So yeah, you can sign up on our website, and we'll get back to you and help you out with some of that liquidity, really.
Now, here's a question. Now, do you guys provide the service if someone's like, I got 100K just burning a hole in my pocket.
Yeah.
And I can wait. This is like 100K I just made on the latest Shark with Tits token.
Yeah.
Can I come and like invest and buy one of these claims that are like $80,000, give them like 90K, and and then I can wait however long, or do people have to go through a process for that?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's a whole process, and we have many buyers already, very, very large buyers, often multi-billion-dollar hedge funds and things of that nature. There are a couple buyers with a little bit less capital and things, but usually I think right now in this season, we're kind of more focused on supporting the sellers and putting the time in there, because we're in a space where there's 1.8 million creditors, and there's not 1.8 million buyers, but there's a lot of buyers. So we kind of each and every single one of our buyers, we go through diligence checks, and we have those conversations and sort of see if they're suited to be a buyer on our platform. But the main focus obviously is helping out these sellers.
Yeah. All right.
So I think there's places out there. There's places out there, maybe one or two, where maybe smaller buyers, without as much KYC and things, can look to buying claims, or just on a private side, really. But yeah,
when do we tokenize this debt?
Yeah, I think there's a platform out there that doing that for people tokenizing claims and things like that. And so that is an option for those who would like to explore that. But I'm not too sure. Maybe it's a little bit early for that sort of advancement, that evolution in where claims is going, or maybe that time is now, and people are the demand is there for it. I'm not too sure, but if you look at kind of trading volume and what customer satisfaction and what people are looking for right now, it's probably more on the traditional end than that right now.
Yeah, you told me a story the other night about you guys provided services to some of the Mt. Gox claimants too.
Well, here's the thing. So, what I was mentioning actually is not that we personally have provided that to Mt. Gox in itself, but I was mentioning to you about a buyer who has bought a lot of Mt. Gox claims, and so is getting paid out, I believe, this year, ridiculous percentages on those claims. I mean, because back then, think now people don't know about crypto claims and things like that. And imagine where crypto was many years ago, Mt. Gox. There would have been no understanding of how, let alone crypto works or claims. But yeah, there's definitely one or two buyers out there who've done very well.
I like, you provide a very sound financial service, But you guys get thrown into that ambulance chaser category almost, like
sometimes, yeah.
like especially like the class action type of stuff, like have you used a cell phone from T-Mobile between 1980 and 2022? You may be eligible, and you're like, I used a cell phone, I think it might have been T-Mobile. And yeah, and so they're like, but you guys are trying to be a little bit more transparent with this.
Yeah, we are, and honestly, we truly are. Like, I think we have the most personable service. I think we do a good bit of educating with sellers, and to be honest, we're not really massively marketing out there. Like, yeah, well, we have our Twitter page. We put out certain tweets and things, and you'll see tweets about updates on the plan that just came out from us, and we've done a couple, some YouTube interviews and things, and we tell sellers transparently our documents are public. I mean, there's no really other broker out there with documents that are like, you can read the paragraphs. Like, we have explanations on YouTube, and so I think that transparency is respected, and that's why we're almost at 200 Google reviews. 5 stars, like, from real life crypto sellers. We've almost 500 million in trading volume in the past like 4 years. So it's like kind of proofs in the pudding in terms of how we operate and do things, which is cool, which is why I'm happy to be a part of it. Yeah.
And it was interesting how you said that the buyers are now having to work to settle in crypto. So you're bringing TradeFi, family offices into Web3 as well through this avenue. So it's interesting. I like it.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's only a positive for the crypto space, to be honest, because they've had to adjust as well, and so that means more people using crypto and having the facilities to do that. And so, yeah, it's been cool. It's been cool.
All right, John, I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight.
No worries.
I got a shout out to everyone joining us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Player One Taco YouTube, 0x Degens YouTube, Twitch, Twitter video, Rumble, Kick, On Chain via Unlonely, as well as, once we're done with this episode, huge shout out, John, you'll like this. Huge shout out to the entire Soul Media community, as this is uploaded to Solana as well.
Oh wow. That's amazing. I mean, honestly, I'm so, this alone literally makes going to that crypto networking event worth it. It's a pleasure to meet you. I actually really appreciate the invite as well to be on here, because it was unexpected, and you don't have to, but I'm glad we actually had like a good conversation, and so big respect to you and your platform, man. I love it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no. So as we end every episode, I want to thank everyone for joining TacoBytes, your Daily Bite of Degen, episode number 624, getting money back from FTX. I was not clairvoyant in knowing that FTX is, or maybe I was. Maybe I knew something was coming, and I was like, I didn't know. But you never know. So, Jean, we end every episode the same way, words of wisdom, and then I have the greatest, worst knock-knock joke on the face of the planet. So, as you're here with us, final thoughts and words of wisdom.
Yeah, final thoughts. Of course, if you are a creditor in FTX or anything like that, more than happy to support you guys and help you get that liquidity and sort of take you through that process, which is fast and transparent. And then I guess words of wisdom is going to be invest in your education. I'm not a professional or an expert. I've only been involved in crypto for about maybe like 3.5 years or so. But I think most people, and you can probably agree to this as well, Taco, is that most people invest before actually learning about things themselves. And so you're actually the depiction of somebody who spent that time and effort into learning about like utility, learning about the communities, learning about the technology and stuff. And so I think that's more powerful than anything, because nobody can take that away from you. And so, yeah, that's my words of wisdom.
At the end of the day, we are just button clickers.
Yeah, that's it.
Clicking
the right buttons.
Yeah, click them enough times, and hopefully something goes on.
Don't
My
click
words,
sell in a bear market and don't click buy in a bull. I'm joking.
my words of wisdom are always the same. A closed mouth cannot be fed, and you cannot feed a closed mouth. Meaning, if no one knows you're looking for opportunity, opportunity can never come a knocking. If opportunity does come knocking and no one answers, it's going to keep on walking. With that, we have a great night. Want to thank everyone for joining us. Jean-Luc, are you ready for the greatest, worst knock-knock joke on the face of the planet?
Yeah, go for it. I'm ready for it at 11 p.m. at night. Let's go.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?